My tale begins on a desolate stretch of coastline where the jagged cliffs met the relentless sea. It was here that I, Eugene, had chosen to spend my days as the lighthouse keeper of a remote, long-abandoned outpost known as Black Rock Light. Little did I know that my solitary existence would soon be shattered by the malevolent spirits of shipwrecked sailors, seeking retribution for their untimely demise. Black Rock Light had stood for centuries, its towering form a beacon of hope and salvation for seafarers navigating treacherous waters. But as technology advanced, the need for such remote outposts dwindled, and I found myself alone in its shadowy interior, a solitary sentinel keeping watch over the restless sea. It began with subtle, inexplicable occurrences, a flickering of the lantern, an unsettling chill in the air, and whispers that seemed to echo through the lighthouse's narrow corridors. At first I dismissed these phenomena as mere tricks of the mind, the product of isolation and the relentless sound of the crashing waves. But as the days turned into weeks, the disturbances grew more pronounced, and I could no longer deny the presence of an otherworldly force within the lighthouse's walls. It was as if the very essence of the sea and the souls it had claimed had become entwined with the structure itself. One stormy night, as I tended to the lantern high above, I heard the mournful wails of the spirits for the first time. A chorus of voices carried on the howling wind, their cries filled with anguish and despair. It was then that I knew I was not alone, that the lighthouse harbored the tormented souls of those who had perished in the treacherous waters below. I began to research the lighthouse's history, delving into the archives of the nearby coastal town. What I discovered chilled me to the bone. The lighthouse had a dark and tragic past, marred by a series of shipwrecks that had claimed the lives of countless sailors. The spirits of these lost souls were bound to the lighthouse, their restless energy seeking retribution for the injustices of their untimely demise. It was a malevolent force that had plagued previous keepers, driving them to madness or forcing them to flee in terror. But I was determined to confront the spirits, to uncover the secrets that bound them to the lighthouse, and find a way to release them from their torment. I began by conducting seances, attempting to communicate with the restless souls and discern their grievances. The spirits' messages were fragmented, their voices filled with anger and sorrow. They spoke of betrayal, of promises broken, and of the darkness that had claimed their lives. It was clear that they sought justice, and they would stop at nothing to ensure that their tormentors paid for their sins. As I delved deeper into the spirits' history, I uncovered a series of shipwrecks that had occurred in the treacherous waters surrounding the lighthouse. It was a grim chronicle of disaster and death, with many of the ships meeting their fate due to deliberate acts of sabotage, a conspiracy to claim the vessels and their cargo for profit. The spirits had been victims of this conspiracy, their lives sacrificed for the greed of others. They now sought to expose the truth, to bring their tormentors to justice, and to ensure that their souls could finally find peace. Armed with this knowledge, I set out to uncover the identities of those responsible for the shipwrecks, a task that would lead me down a perilous path of deceit and danger. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that the conspirators were still alive, their descendants continuing the dark legacy of their forebears. As I delved deeper into my investigation, the spirits grew increasingly restless, their supernatural manifestations intensifying. Objects moved of their own accord, apparitions appeared in the dead of night, and the lighthouse itself seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. But I was undeterred, driven by a determination to bring the conspirators to justice and release the spirits from their torment. With each revelation, I inched closer to uncovering the truth, and the spirits grew more desperate for retribution. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived, a stormy night when the spirits' anger reached a fever pitch. As I stood atop the lighthouse, I saw a vision, a spectral ship, wreathed in mist and carrying the souls of the lost sailors, approaching the treacherous rocks below. The spirits had come to confront their tormentors, to demand justice for the injustices of the past. It was a chilling sight, a manifestation of their unwavering determination to seek retribution at any cost. As the spectral ship neared the treacherous rocks, I knew that I had to act. I contacted the descendants of the conspirators, revealing the secrets of their ancestors' crimes and the vengeful spirits that sought to expose them. It was a desperate plea for them to make amends and put an end to the cycle of torment. In the dark of night, as the storm raged on, the descendants gathered at the lighthouse, their faces etched with fear and remorse. They confessed to the sins of their forebears, acknowledging the pain and suffering they had caused. It was then that the spirits, their ethereal forms glowing with an otherworldly light, descended upon the lighthouse. Their anguished cries turned to whispers of forgiveness, and a sense of peace washed over the room. The spirits had found the closure they had long sought, and their tormentors had finally come to terms with the sins of the past. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, the spectral ship disappeared into the mist, carrying with it the souls of the lost sailors. The lighthouse, once plagued by malevolent forces, stood silent and still, its haunted history finally laid to rest. In the years that followed, I continued to tend to Black Rock Light, but the malevolent spirits had departed, their vengeful mission fulfilled. The lighthouse stood as a symbol of redemption and forgiveness, a testament to the power of confronting the sins of the past and seeking to make amends. And so, I remained the keeper of the lighthouse, a guardian of the beacon that had guided countless ships to safety. The haunted history of Black Rock Light had become a distant memory, a tale told to remind future generations of the importance of confronting their own sins and seeking redemption before it was too late.